She-Hulk Season 1 Episode 1 Recap Ending explained. The camera zooms in and Jennifer Walters starts to talk about a case. It seems like she is actually looking at the camera and talking directly to the audience, but two other people are actually there and Jen is actually presenting her mock argument to them, before the actual case. Among the two people, the man who seems to be a lawyer doubts Jen's ability to win the case and wants to do it himself, but the woman Nikki, a paralegal, seems very encouraging. Nikki also happens to be Jen's best friend. Jen pretty much ignores the man and pays attention to Nikki and they all leave the room. Right before leaving, Nikki casually asks Jen to bring the Hulk, if that is needed, and Jen replies that she absolutely does not intend to do that. Jen now turns to the camera and speaks directly to the audience and reveals that she is actually a Hulk. The story goes into flashback mode. Jen starts to narrate again. 3 months ago she was on a road trip with her cousin Bruce Banner. We see Bruce in his human form wearing a device in his hand. Bruce explains to Jen that the function of that device is to keep him in his human form, instead of the integrated Smart Hulk form, as shown in the Avengers Endgame movie. This also clears the doubt over Bruce appearing in human form in the Shang-Chi movie post-credit scene. Suddenly a spaceship arrives out of nowhere and Jen, busy with her conversation with Bruce, crashes the car. Both of them survive the accident with minor scratches, but Bruce starts to bleed, his device gets destroyed and his gamma radiation affects Jen and she sees a blurry reflection of her Hulk self on the body of their car. Jen soon rushes into a local pub and enters the toilet, still unsure about what has happened to her. Several other women suddenly come inside and they think a man has done something to Jen. She soon gets out and gets teased by some regular creepy men outside the pub. Then she loses her temper, her Hulk form emerges for a while and the scene goes black, indicating Jen has blacked out. She wakes up in a beach house and soon it is revealed that Bruce has taken her to his place in Mexico, a secluded house, a bar with a laboratory underneath. Bruce reveals it was actually the property of Tony Stark, who gave it to him. Bruce takes Jen to the lab and explains that she has turned into a Hulk because of lethal exposure to gamma radiation that came from Bruce. Jen seems confused, frustrated, and angry after hearing this. However, Bruce also reveals that there is something strange about Jen's blood and how the gamma radiation has changed it. Bruce has healed his injured hand with it, indicating Jen might actually be superior to him in terms of power and ability. Bruce asks Jen to stay and train with him in order to learn how to control her Hulk form. He keeps mentioning his struggle with it for so many years and seems visibly guilty and concerned about Jen. But it is soon revealed that when Jen turns into her Hulk form, she still remains her original self inside her head and can actually control her Hulk self. Bruce is surprised to see this but still continues to train her. After a while, Jen wants to go back to her regular lawyer life and she has a huge fight with Bruce regarding it. Bruce keeps indicating now that she is a superhero, she can't go back to her life before, while Jen remains adamant about staying a lawyer and continuing her life exactly like before. She also taunts Bruce about how he does not have a life of his own, no friends or family that he actually visits, and does not deal with all the trauma caused by the life he had as an Avenger. This escalates the fight further as both of them get very angry and a huge, gigantic physical fight takes place where Bruce's bar gets completely thrashed. They soon make up and Jen helps Bruce fix his bar, which was originally made by Bruce and Tony back in the days. Jen says she feels about saying all the harsh things to Bruce, but she is her own person and actually wishes to go back. Bruce does not stop her this time and promises that he will always help her no matter what in any situation if she asks for it. We get back to the present. Jen finishes her story and also tells us that she hasn't been Hulk ever since coming back and Nikki is the only person who knows her truth. In the court, we see Jen presenting her closing argument to the jury and suddenly a gigantic woman wearing a very flashy black and gold costume storms into the court, breaking the world from nowhere. Everyone gets really scared and Nikki urges Jen to handle the situation with her Hulk persona as it falls under her civic duties. Seeing no other option, Jen turns into Hulk and the woman gets surprised and asks her who the hell is she, to which Jen replies, Jennifer Walters, attorney at law, and then punches the woman with her super strength and beats her easily. As the officers go to capture the unconscious woman, Jen slips back into her human form, adjusts her clothes as if nothing happened, and confidently declares that she is ready to give her closing argument. In a post-credit scene, it is revealed by Bruce that Steve Rogers' Captain America did not die a virgin. First, the post-credit scene. MCU has the habit of joking by putting things that are absolutely not relevant going to matter as post-credit scenes at times. Remember Bruce Campbell from Multiverse of Madness, which sometimes land. Given the reaction on the internet, this one can be considered a good landing, although it doesn't have anything to do with the story, hopefully. Now, the real ending. Even though she has not been officially introduced, the mysterious woman from the ending, played by the very talented Jamila Jamil from The Good Place, happens to be a character called Titania, which we know from the show's origin comic. Titania happens to be a nemesis of She-Hulk, and considering that Jamal's introduction has been good enough, the future episodes will surely explore the rivalry more. There was no sign of either Abomination or Daredevil, so as of now we can't speculate what their roles will be. Bruce is most likely going to appear in the show to help Jen in future episodes. We will find out more next week.